If you've tried breathing exercises in the past and they have only left you feeling more annoyed, more frustrated, or even more anxious than when you first sat down, I want you to stick around for today's video because we're going to talk about and actually go into the one thing that most people are missing when they go to do breathing exercises. This one thing can literally make or break your entire experience, both when you're doing the breathing work or breathing exercises, and of course, the reason why we're doing it, for how you feel afterwards. So most times when you go to do breathing work, it is likely that you are feeling some sort of big emotion, anxious or frustration or annoyed or resentful, and you don't want to be feeling that way any longer, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel a different way. The trouble is if you are only doing the breathing work because you think that you shouldn't be feeling a certain way, that is where the trouble lies. By only going to the breathing work in an attempt to try to not feel the original thing because you think that there is something wrong with that feeling, or you think that it is a bad feeling or a negative feeling, or that you shouldn't be feeling that feeling, you are essentially dismissing your system. You are telling yourself that there is something wrong for feeling that way. And if you've watched any of the other videos on my channel, you'll know that feelings are never wrong. Actions, we can talk about actions and what actions are good and bad and all of that. That's a different discussion. But feelings, the sensation that you're having inside of your body, those are never wrong. It's never bad. Why? Because feelings do not equal action. But the reality is feelings are just feelings. They can just exist or not inside of us. So when we work through the exercise today, I'll show you how to actually make that shift. But from a mind standpoint, from a logical understanding of what we're talking about, it's this idea that the feelings are never wrong. There's nothing wrong with wanting to do breath work to feel a certain way. And also the feeling that you were feeling originally that made you want to go and do the breath work, that is also not wrong. So let's dive into exactly what I'm talking about. We're gonna walk through an example of what I mean when I say making this shift when you go to do the breath work. So you are gonna get cozy and comfortable. You can change positions, you can move around. If you are driving or operating heavy machinery, this is not for you right now. You can pause and definitely come back to it. But if you are not driving or operating heavy machinery, let's go ahead and dive in. So you're nice and comfortable now. You're gonna close your eyes or soften your gaze if closing your eyes does not feel good. And as you close your eyes, you're gonna begin to notice your breath. And as you notice your breath, you're going to begin to notice your body. And so in the beginning here, we are not trying to make any adjustments whatsoever. You are just observing, getting curious. You are also not super concerned with any thoughts that are floating through your mind. They're there, they can come and go. It's fine that they're there. I'm not telling you to empty your mind of all your thoughts. That's not this type of space. You're just observing them. And as you observe your thoughts, you may also notice any sensations that arise within your body as you have those thoughts, letting that connection build. And these first few moments are simple. It's all relatively simple, but these first few moments are very simple. No adjustments, no modifications, just allowing your body, your brain, your breath to exist exactly as it is, exactly as it needs to in this moment. And then as you start to feel settled in that space, you are going to begin to expand your breath. And I'm being super vague on purpose because I want your system, your body to interpret that however it needs to. allowing the breath to expand and noticing what that expansion feels like. Maybe your inhales and exhales are slightly fuller or longer. Maybe they feel different or more expansive in your physical body. Maybe you notice sensations in your head or your throat or even down to your fingers and your toes. And then as you let that breath continue to expand, you're going to bring your awareness into your physical body. And you're noticing what sensations begin to show up or are already there for you. Noticing any tension or not. Any temperature or not. Any weight or density, spaces where it feels like you might be pulled down or held down, noticing the distinction there. And then you are bringing your awareness to that space, to the space that you have identified or connected to. And if you have more than one spot, that's totally fine. You're gonna bring your awareness to the space that feels just a little stickier or just a little bit more interesting. Again, no right or wrong. If you have time, you could come back in and replay the audio for another round to go to the second sensation. So you're choosing your sensation and you're bringing as much of your awareness there as it feels safe to do so. And you're letting yourself get really curious about that sensation. And as your curiosity grows, you're coming back in around to the breath. So we started with the inhales and exhales, just letting them be. And then we expanded those inhales and exhales, letting the breath get bigger or fuller or longer, whatever that expansiveness meant to you. And then you found a sensation or an experience inside your physical body and you brought your awareness there. And now you're coming back to the breath and you're noticing both spaces. And this is a bit like exercising a muscle. It may take a little bit of practice for you to be able to go to both. Maybe it becomes more like a ping-ponging back and forth. A moment noticing the body, a moment noticing the breath. And wherever you're at, just hanging out there for a moment. Hang there. We're gonna move on in a second, but you're hanging for now. Inhaling and exhaling. Noticing how you'd almost have to work harder to stop the breath. The breath is so organic. It moves all on its own, in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And then when you're able to, bringing the awareness back into the sensation or the experience that you're having in your body, and you're going to begin to follow the impulse of that sensation. As you do this, as you move into this space, I want you to make sure that you are safe, that anyone around you is safe. This is not about acting out. This is about putting motion to the sensation that is inside of you. And so you're going to begin to notice if whatever is there, if you can express it, if you could describe it using only your body. So no words right now. Noticing if you want to move your shoulders or your head or your hands. Noticing what would happen, just like when you get that little impulse in the back of your throat, you know you have to cough or sneeze or blink your eyes. The same could be said for other spaces inside. That tiny tension that's in your stomach or in and around your chest. What would happen if you started to express that with the rest of your body? Moving the arms, moving the head, maybe letting the face change in a way that shows more what the experience is like inside. And then you're gonna hang with that, letting that expression happen safely, holding that space, watching and observing as you move through it. Just like that impulse to cough or laugh even, or blink. What does that impulse feel like? And then you take the action, you laugh, you chuckle, you giggle. What if you did the same for the swirling that's happening in your chest, or the tightness that feels across your stomach? Letting yourself express, move into that shape until you feel some sort of shift. Even just the going to it and the expression is super powerful. But if you're able to move into a space where it feels like, whoa, there is something different about being in this space, allowing yourself to go there. Letting yourself hang in that moment. We went along stages, so if at any point it feels like, whoa, I don't even know what she's talking about anymore, totally fine, just stay exactly where you were. It is a skill. It is a bit like building a muscle, and there may not be strength yet to go all the way down the line, and that's totally fine. Hanging here for a few more moments, allowing that expression to happen, that description of what is happening internally for you, and letting your body move through it. I keep coming back to sort of wanting to push my hands out. I'm not actively doing this exercise, but there must be something happening inside for me. Your body knows, and we're just trusting the body for a moment. We can go back to trusting the mind in just a moment when this video is over, but for these few seconds, we're trusting the body that whatever happens, for some reason I want to put my hand up, for some reason I want to push into the floor. Just allow that to happen safely. As long as you're being safe, there's literally nothing wrong with what is showing up. And we'll begin to wrap up in just a moment. Noticing if there's any last impulse or movement that you can take, that you can follow through as you're in your space. And then when it feels right to do so, allowing your body to be more still. Allowing your awareness, much like we did in the beginning, to come back to the breath. Notice those inhales and exhales and how potentially they were different from the very beginning, from that very starting point. Again, no right or wrong here. And then letting the breath return back to a more organic rhythm or pace, whatever that looks like and feels like for you. Again, I'm being super vague because we're in this space of letting the body do what it needs to do, safely do what it needs to do. And And then when you're ready, bringing your awareness back into the room around you, the floor underneath you, and the walls surrounding you. And then allowing your eyelids to flutter and generally, gradually bringing yourself back into the room, into your space. And taking as much time as you need to fully come back in. If there were spaces that you felt like didn't get touched or that you wanted to go into a little bit more, you can always come back, replay. This is, as I've said a couple of times, a skill, a muscle most of us were not taught. And it takes time to build the strength, the awareness to be able to do this fluidly and regularly, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoyed videos like this, let me know down in the comments. These are slightly different than the style that I've been doing so far. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video, and don't forget to speak your truth.